Hello and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello, welcome, my name is Rebecca, I'm a knitter and knitwear designer based in Edinburgh, and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future. It has been 2 weeks since my last episode and it's definitely going to be a bit of a different structure today because I've been a relatively monogamous knitter. I have a brand new finished object which jumped on my needles and off my needles since we last spoke. I have 2 pattern test calls, I've been to a yarn festival, I have lots to share today, so bear with me as I go through this because I feel like I'm going to quite easily go off on a tangent. We'll try and rein it in. I'm wearing something very exciting, but I'm going to go over my other 2 finished objects before I get to that. And then we'll spend a bit of time talking about this because I'm very excited, and then I've got one whip to share that I'm making some progress on, and otherwise I will jump to some acquisitions at the end. So it might be a shorter episode, we will see. I'm going to try to talk a bit slower and a bit more controlled and not get myself too rushed. We will see how it goes. Okay, the very first thing is that last weekend I launched a new knitting pattern, and I put a video out last Friday, but it wasn't a very popular video. It was like a vlog style thing, and I just thought I would mention the pattern in case you're waiting for it and you hadn't seen last week's video. So this is the Nyx Sweater. It's so much fun. So there are 2 versions of Nyx. There is a yoke only colour work, which is what this is, and then there's a version with colour work all over. And I love them both. I think they're such a different look for one pattern. I think this would make such a fun Christmas jumper. I have yarn to make one in like a fuzzy cream and white, and I will cast it on at some point in my life, but yeah, it's very like après-ski chic, I feel. I did this as a collaboration with Ali of Exploring Knits and Fibres. Last year we collaborated on the stick season, and this year this is our pattern of choice. Last year was inspired by, sorry, my hair is doing something funky today. Last year was inspired by Noah Khan, and this year is inspired by Hosier and the track Son of Nyx from Unreal Earth. That's not what this album's called. The most recent album with the mouth. Unreal Earth? Anyway, the song Nyx, to me, Son of Nyx, sounds like a fantasy book. Like I read it and I feel like I'm in a fantasy novel. I love it, sorry. I listen to it and I feel like I'm reading a fantasy novel. So I was really excited to do a pattern that was kind of timeless, and yeah, I just really love it. It smells so much like wool wash, and I'm back on my favourite wool wash, which is Filcolana Jasmine. I love the smell of it so much, and I can smell it on this. So I used Earthy DK for mine, and this is from the Farmer's Market collection. So the blue is Blue Spirulina and the green is Big Dill. And yeah, there we go. My first, but not my last, round yoke sweater. So if you are interested, I'll put a link to the pattern down below. There's some very cool texture versions. I went to the yarn festival last week and I went with Maggie and Rebecca, who are people who come to my knit night, who've also done a lot of my pattern pictures and do a lot of my test knits, and they were both wearing Nyx, and I should have worn mine and I chickened out last minute and I don't really know why, and then I spent the whole festival just feeling sad that I hadn't worn it because we would have been such a fun little trio, and I was the odd one out because I didn't wear mine. So that's what I get, I think, for not choosing to pick it. But yeah, the pattern's now on sale and feel free to have a look at it, but I thought I'd mention it anyway, even though the release was last weekend. I think I finished it since last time. I don't think I was working on this last time. I might have just finished it, but I've kind of lost track of where I'm at over the past couple of weeks. We went on holiday for a few days last week and it was so lovely. That's what my little video last Friday was all about. A sort of like vlog, countryside vlog, lots of walks, lots of nice music. But it has kind of thrown off my perception of the past few weeks. I'm not really sure what day, well, I know what day it is now, but I kind of can't remember what I last checked in on. I do know that the last time I recorded, I did a test call for the Staffin sweater and cardigan. It was the most popular test call I have ever done. I put it up, I guess, at like 11 o'clock, I guess, in the morning, or maybe even, no, it must have been 1 o'clock, because I think I put it live at the same time I put the podcast live, and went to sleep and didn't really check it, and then woke up the next morning, did a dog walk, Got back from the dog walk and realised it had over 1,000 applications. So the test is now underway. Someone has finished their, I think it's a sweater, or someone's done already. So it's evidently a quick knit. People are already saying, oh, I can't wait for my second one, or like, oh, I've done the sweater, maybe I'll do the cardigan now. So that's very exciting. I have a test call for the same pattern family, which is the vest. So there is a shawl, a sweater, a cardigan and a vest. The shawl will come out in November as a standalone pattern. There's a small version and it's a really, really fun pattern, and I thought it'd make a really good gift knit for anyone who wants to gift knit anything. So I thought it'd be nice to get that one out in November. And then in January, one pattern will come out, and that one pattern will include the vest, the sweater and the cardigan. And the cardigan has a round neck and a v-neck option. Because as we all know, I like to make my life easy. And I don't like to have giant tech editor bills. No, my tech editors are worth what I pay them, but yeah, I end up with huge invoices from them because I send them 16 patterns instead of one for one individual pattern. But the vest test knit for that sort of mass collection, I'm starting a few weeks later. I'd knit the sweater, I hadn't knit the cardigan sample, and I said that to testers in the forum, so before anyone signed up they were fully aware that the cardigan had not been sample knit. But with the cardigan, I feel very confident having knit the sweater to jump in and knit and write the cardigan pattern without having knitted the sample. I feel less confident doing that with the vest, so I wanted to get the vest knit before the sample. God, I'm getting my words clued up. I wanted to make sure I had a vest done before the test knit started, and I was comfortable delaying the test call by a few weeks to knit the vest because I feel like 10 weeks is still enough for a vest. Given that people have finished a whole sweater in 2 weeks, I figure 10 weeks for no sleeves is more than enough. So I knit my vest up and I love it. This is what it looks like. It's so cute. Why are vests so cute? Like, they just look, they're so fun. They're so fun to photograph, they're so fun to look at, they're so fun to knit because you just finish the body and then you're done and they just have to do the armbands. It has got the Staffin texture. Let me just hold it up like this because you can see it properly. So the texture has got these Estonian buttons, which is what these are called, and then a lattice. Is that what you say? No, a brocade. I don't know where I got lattice from. Brocade. And then another bobble. And then a rib section. Super easy to memorise. Very easy going, to be honest. It's a pretty simple pattern. And back has these fun little shoulder details, so you have the bobbles as like a little diagonal in the shoulder. Oh, I just think it's so cute. That's a really fun shape at the back. I use the same sort of shape as I made for my Lauder vest, which is the first vest that I designed, and it's top down, so I personally feel more comfortable designing for bottom up vests, and I don't really know why, but this is top down because I think most people would prefer to knit top down. And so, yeah, that's what this is. And I'm glad I did it that way. It also smells like wool wash. I love it so much. I had a different wool wash from Soak and it performed perfectly well. There's no issue with it at all. But I love the smell of Jasmine Eucalyptus so much. But I told myself I couldn't order it until I'd finished the old one. So I finished the old one and now I have this back again. So all of my last few whips just smell like wool and jasmine and I love it. It's maybe my favourite smell. I love it so much. Also, it means freshly finished object, which is like, I think there must be something in my head there where I love the smell because it's a beautiful smell, but I also love the meaning, the connotations of that smell. So if you're interested in testing this, there's a test form down below. It is a 16-stitch gauge, so my sweater is knit in Fivel, which is from Rauma. My cardigan will also be knit in Fivel. This one is knit in pure Gynt in the colour Matcha, which is a new colour, and Filcolana Tilia mohair in the colour Meadow. So that's more like an Aran weight, so like I've also got gauge with DK and mohair, and there are definitely some really good budget options. I've got people on the test knit knitting it with Lion Brand Fisherman's wool for the sweater, so there's a lot of options out there. But you want something that kind of, I mean, you don't need to, but something that makes the texture pop. If you're going to put the work into the texture, it's nice to have texture pop. And I think it really pops. So that is the Staffin vest. I I woke up, I did the Staffin sweater, and then I woke up one morning and I was like, why don't I just make this a big pattern? Why don't we just chuck a cardigan and a vest in as well? And I'm glad I did, but it means a lot more work. I did it for Laura last year and I kind of forgot how much work it was. Maybe I just got so excited by the end pattern that I forgot that releasing one pattern with 3 fully different styles is running 3 different test knits and writing 3 different patterns and knitting 3 different samples. So it's a lot of work, but I'm very excited and I'm really glad. I feel like there's always a phase in a test knit where the first couple of weeks people are getting the yarn, they're swatching, they're reading, they're not really sure what's going on, there's a little bit of like, oh, and then it starts to settle and then people are just knitting, especially with things like the Staffins or raglan. So once people understand like their charting and like where they're starting the repeat, once you've split the sleeves and you're doing the body and you're doing the sleeve, the body and the sleeves, everyone's pattern's established, you're just knitting. And that's where that has gotten to now. So I'm kind of glad that's got there. People are generally over the first like flurry of and people are starting to settle into the pattern and things, and now we're ready to try the vest. So very exciting. The test call for that is down below. I have another test call coming today, so if you're considering applying for this, you might want to wait until the end of the episode because I have more to talk about and I have one more test call coming today, and I don't want you to like put all your eggs in one basket and then change your mind. If you only have space for one test knit, you might not want this to be it. But yeah, if you test knit this, you will also get you'll get the same pattern at the end of it, so you'll get the sweater, the cardigan, and your one choice of any other pattern too. So yeah, that's the Staffin. I need to work out how to wear this. I ordered some shirts and it's so dumb. I've been looking for so long for some shirts that I like interesting collared shirts. So I wanted like a round neck collar, like a Peter Pan collar, something more dramatic. So I ordered 3 shirts in the same size from Zara. I don't really like shopping from Zara. It's not particularly, I don't think their sizing is very good. But I've been looking for these shirts for options for a while, and they had 3 different ones that I thought were all reasonable. I ordered 3, they're all the same size. One is like miles too big, like looks like I'm wearing my dad's shirt in like a toddler way. One, like the buttons are popping, and one is the Goldilocks shirt that fits just right. So I found a shirt to wear under it, which I'm pleased about, but I'm frustrated that it took 3 different shirts to order to get it right. And I think I'm going to also look for a black, like a thin black turtleneck. I love to wear a vest with a t-shirt, just a white t-shirt, but it's not t-shirt weather. It's pretty chilly here. So I think I do need another layer with it, or like a long sleeve underneath it anyway. So I think I'll try and look for a thin, I feel like I have one somewhere and I've not seen it for like at least a year. So maybe I'll go digging first, see if I can find the one I own, and if not, I might have a look for a nice like thermal, like a long sleeve black turtleneck that I can wear. Like how fun would that be? Black jeans, black turtleneck, and then like pop of green. So yeah, that is the Staffin vest. It blocked out so nicely. So first I see it on camera and I'm just so pleased. I'll start my cardigan sample soon, and I'm really excited to start the cardigan sample. I've like missed the stitch pattern. I'm looking forward to squishing it again. Okay, I realised I've forgotten the yarn that I need for the next section, so I'm going to grab that quickly. Okay, if you watched my little mini vlog episode last week, or if you follow me on Instagram, this sweater that I'm wearing will not come as a surprise to you. But if you are tuning in, it's the first time you're seeing it, this is my new sweater. This is called Kintra, Kintra. I had a look the other day. I am in the middle of putting up a website, and I had to list all my patterns there, so I had them all in alphabetical order, and I realised that K and L are my most popular letter choices. So I've got another K, I've got a Kintra, and this is what my other test call is for today. So let me talk you through it. We went on holiday last week, and I've had quite a few with the Staffin and the vest. I have quite a lot of deadlines I have recently, and I've got quite a lot of deadlines knit-wise coming up, and I really wanted to it's hard to properly take a break when knitting is like you professionally knit, because I love to knit. Like I knit every single day. I don't want to go a day without knitting. But also like a holiday's a holiday. And if you want to like switch off and take a break, do you bring your knitting? Do you bring your sample knits? What do you do? And so I decided to just jump in with a brand new idea and have like absolutely zero pressure and do whatever I wanted with it and see what happened and see if I liked it. And safe to say, I liked it. So ever since I finished the Nyx, it's right here, I'll show you. The very beginning has this 1x1 colour work right at the top, and then it kind of like goes out into some, like there's some increases in there, but this first little bit is 1x1. And it was so fun to knit. I love knitting it. So ever since then, I have a lot of ideas floating around that haven't really been pinned down, but one of them was doing some kind of yoke with 1x1 colour work, and that was all I'd done. So I had no more like concepts or like plans, I just had a 1x1 colour work in mind. And so I decided to run with that on holiday, and then I remember that the 1x1 being very clearly in my head. At one point that merged with the idea of an advent sweater, and so it kind of gave me the framework to work within, which is that this yoke will fit 24 colours. So it will take as few as 3 colours, so the main colour and 2 contrasts, or as many as 24 colours. And so you could work through the yoke with a 24-day advent. Now I wanted to try it first and foremost. My biggest thing was I wasn't sure how yardages would work, and I wanted to make sure that all sizes in the pattern could use a 24-day 4-ply advent, because like that's the most standard one that there is, and so I wanted to make sure that that would fit, but I wasn't sure it would to start with, so I decided to use, I thought if it's not working for an advent, like I might still run with the idea but like not advertise it as an advent pattern, or like change things up a little bit. But I thought by using a non-advent yarn I could make sure that I have enough yardage. And the good news is that every single size in the pattern up to, I think my pattern will run, I think the largest size is 170cm chest and the smallest is an 80. So the full size range, the largest size will use 60 meters. So 30 meters held double, and an advent is generally 80 meters. So every single size can use a full advent, which is very exciting. And I decided to use, I didn't actually know what I was going to take. I took basically every skein of yarn I could find that had the right weight, and I pulled out of a bag and decided what was next and just kind of ran with it. So my main colour is pure Gynt in the colour Marzipan, which I actually had earmarked. Well, I actually bought a different yarn. I bought a grey yarn and I was knitting with it and I just didn't like it. I bought this, or maybe Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool in like a light green, or a light grey, ash grey maybe. And I was knitting it up and I was like, just not vibing. This is not really what I want. And I had this already for a cable sweater. So when I pulled this out, I've already backfilled. I've ordered the replacement skein so that I'm ready to go in that cable sweater. But I decided to go with this instead. So that was like a night before we left decision. And then I took more skeins in this, but these are the ones that ultimately made the cut. I had a dark grey that I wanted to use, but they sent me the wrong weight. So it was meant to be the Peruvian Highland wool and it was Pernilla, which is a sport weight, so it wasn't quite right. So these are the colours that I used, and I took a 50-gram ball of every colour and this is what I have left. So this is, I actually don't know, this is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool. I can tell by the touch actually. Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool in, I think it'd be sage green, or just, oh no, thyme it's called, like T-H-Y-M-E, thyme. Peruvian Highland wool in tile red. It's a kind of real like washed out red colour. Red squirrel, Dijon, and pure Gynt in like a petrol blue. And then I kept my main colour. So you could also, I kept my main colour as like one of the colours through the yoke. So this ended up being my colour palette. I could have taken that out and just had these, but I decided to put it in. I don't really know why. Let me be honest, I have no idea why. I was just trying to make sure that the colour I was picking was high enough contrast. And I found that I got to, I don't know where I got to, but at one point I was like, let's just chuck that in as another contrast colour. It flows from my version. I have the same, so like I have like colour 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I go through the same order. But I switched up the very last repeat just because otherwise I would have had the Marzipan just before the main colour, and I didn't want to like lose a stripe, so I switched this up at the end and like just skipped over that one on its last repeat. But otherwise it's the same flow the whole way through. It's 1x1 colour work, so it's the easiest type of colour work, and there are increases to the yoke, so you see these like almost little flashes of like bigger bits of colour, and that's because that's where there are 2 stitches in that colour. But the yoke is finished with raglan increases, so you can see it quite well actually. here, the last, I'd finished the yoke and I tried it on and I wasn't happy with the fit, and I was like, oh, there's way too much fit in the sleeves, it's just too roomy. So I messaged the incredible Rebecca, who is I have a lot of cool Rebeccas in my life. I have Rebecca who does a lot of my pictures and does test knitting and who makes amazing stitch markers. And then I have Rebecca who's my tech editor. So Rebecca, my tech editor, I emailed her and I was like, I'm not vibing with the fit of this. Do you have any tips? Like, what is there a industry standard here? Like, what do I do? And she said it's quite common in round yoke sweaters to add raglan increases to the bottom of the yoke, because what you end up doing is you're not increasing as much at the top of the sleeve, so you end up with way less ease in the pattern. So that's exactly what I did. So the last sort of 10 rows of the yoke, of the colour work anyway, are raglan increases, and it works out really well because it's 1x1 colour work, so it really doesn't change anything. And then once your arm is, I mean, that was really folded, but even normal, it just folds into there and you can't see where it is. There are short rows, so it's sitting nice at the neck. I was a little bit worried about that as well, but provided that, yeah, I don't know, it's not really an issue. I've got mine folded over double, but there's also an option to leave it single. And before I folded it, I had the neckband up, and I also really like that one. But I do think the pure Gynt is a little scratchier, so I decided to fold it over because I wasn't sure I wanted the pure Gynt that close to my neck. It is a bit more rustic. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? This is mine ended up slightly different from the pattern. It's 116 centimetre chest. The sizes are pretty much bang on the 10 centimetres, so there's like a 110, 120, 130, 140 just about, I think. And the bottom, the smallest three sizes 1, 2 and 3, they have a slightly modified option at the top if you want to make it an advent pattern. So if you want 24 colours, they just start with slightly shorter repeats and then they get bigger, just because this is quite a deep amount of colour work, and otherwise you'd have like a swan show, otherwise your yoke would be too low down. So to keep that really good fit, the smaller sizes, I mean, if you're not using a 24 skein advent, you could just stick to this pattern and you'd have a few repeats and you wouldn't notice. But if you want to have a 24 skein repeat, 24 colour repeat, you just work a little bit less in the first couple of colours and then it comes in normal. There's also a 4-ply version. So I love to work with DK and I have no issue with holding advents double, but I know that advents are quite pricey and sometimes people want to make the most of their yarn and sometimes you prefer 4-ply, so there's also a 4-ply version. There are more stitches per colour in the 4-ply, so you still get that deep yoke, but it is otherwise same on sizing and the same kind of concept. And yeah, there is a test call down below. It is a 14-week test, so I scrambled a little bit on this one. Here's the deal, I went on holiday and I was like, I don't want to be rushing for anything. Like, I'm just going to enjoy this and I'm going to have fun and see what happens. And then I got obsessive and I was like, I need to make this happen. And I was like, okay, well what I could do is this could be an advent pattern for next November. But I was kind of frustrated because I've got quite a lot of designs going on right now and I didn't really want to leave it until next November. I was really feeling on like a roll with it, and I shared a few pictures to Instagram and I was getting such a positive response. Everyone saying, I absolutely love this sweater, this is amazing. I want to knit one of these. And I thought about it and I was like, well, not everyone firstly knits an advent in advent. Like, some people knit an advent pattern up daily, but a lot of people don't, or if they start they don't stay on track. So it doesn't have to be an advent pattern. Also, a lot of people just don't knit advents, and I think people could use this, for example, for my size, the largest stripe, so like the very, very last stripe, so covering the most amount of stitches, used 16 meters of yarn, so 8 grams. So it was also a really good scrappy project, which maybe, like, that doesn't need to be an advent time thing, that could be an anytime thing. And I didn't like the idea of waiting. And also I thought I could always do like a little discount or a sale this time next year and like it can still be promoted as an advent pattern, even if I'm releasing it not at advent time. I also realised that, so my next pattern that's currently in development after this is also a mega pattern. So it is a cable knit sweater and cardigan and a vest, and it's a lot. I mean, I'm still going to be running a test knit with a 4-ply and a DK weight version, but I need a bit more time to write them up, I think. I'm making progress, but this gives me an extra sort of 6 weeks to finish developing those patterns, and also just means that like I won't have 2 mega patterns back to back. and that just means that'll come out in March. And there was a pattern for a half fisherman's rib cardigan, which I'm not quite stuck on, but like I'm not crazy excited to cast on in the way that I was obsessive about casting this on, and I thought, well, let's just run with the fun. So the half fisherman's rib cardigan might happen at some point, maybe it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world, it's just kind of like we'll see what happens with it. And I decided to get things going to get this out and into testing, and like that is one of the benefits. Sam, my partner, said, oh, you should do a video on how you organise your knits, and as I like organise my knitting plans, and I'm not sure if anyone would be interested, but the way I tend to work is that I work backwards from a release date of a pattern, and I don't ever have there's basically a pattern a month, so it means that I know when a pattern has to go into testing. But it means this is quite nice because it meant I could just shuffle some pieces around, and there was a slot available for this. I just had to move something else out of the way, and it was quite a nice way to like, okay, well, if that's going to come out on this date, then it has to go into testing by this date. Now the reason I had to scramble, because otherwise I had done a regular 12-week test, is that I wanted to give 4-ply knitters as much time as possible. And so what I've ended up doing is not only taking the slot that I had available for a February pattern, I've also extended my test window by 2 weeks. So what was meant to happen is that 2 weeks from now I should have had a cable knit pattern going into testing, and what I've done instead is pull that date forward to today, start a new pattern test and get it running. So I was kind of scrambling to get this finished to be able to do the sample. I think there's a world where I could have finished the body in a sleeve and say it's ready for test knitting, but I don't love doing that. I like to have a full pattern. It's nice to be able to show you what it looks like and fully blocked and wearing it. And there's not a 4-ply sample. There will not be one until after the test. Again, that's in the test form, so if that puts you off, don't apply for the 4-ply. I do have 2 tech editors, so it gets checked by my first editor and then it gets checked by my second editor, so I'm pretty confident that the pattern you're getting written up there is going to be a good one. But yeah, I just wanted to scramble to get this done. So I have been marathon knitting this week to get this finished, and it actually pretty much knit itself. I know people say that and I'm like, oh, how did it knit itself? But it was so easy. The yoke, so we got back from our break on Thursday of last week. Today is Friday, and I had to then rip out. So I think I must have had the yoke finished by last Friday, and I think I had the rest of the sweater finished by Tuesday evening and dry by Wednesday. And yeah, like I was spending my evenings like, but also it was fun. Like it was just stocking it in around 20 stitch gauge, easy peasy. So this is Kindra, and if you'd like to test your wear, you're welcome to apply. It'll be down below, and I will be knitting my second sample. I'm definitely going to make 3 samples of this. I can sense it in my bones. I know there's a third sample coming. I think my second sample is going to be the Advent one. I'm going to knit it through Advent because I have an Advent calendar. I ordered one basically as soon as I had the idea of this pattern. I ordered one. It was funny because I'd asked last episode for recommendations on a tonal, that's the word I'm looking for, a tonal Advent. And then someone that I follow, Cece, who's the Stitch Witch, she takes incredible pictures. She shared the Advent picture, and the Advent was perfect, is what I was looking for, based in the UK, non-superwash, tonal. I was like, this is not, she didn't even share it to me, she just shared it on her stories like 2 days later, and I was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So I reached out to the dyer. She's got a sick kid this week, so she's not got back to me yet. She said like, I'll get back to you with my kid as well, but she's going to let me know what kind of background colour to use. I only need to make sure that it's contrast enough with colour 1 and 2 and colour 23 and 24, because nothing else touches the main colour in the Advent version, but those 4 colours do, so as long as it's high enough contrast with those. And I'd like a dark grey one, and I don't know what it's going to be, but my plan is to wait because I will inevitably become jealous of one of the test knit versions and I will copy it. So that's my plan for the probably 3rd sample. I need to decide if I'm going to knit my 4-ply sample myself or have it sample knit. Someone will be offended by that, but I don't care. I don't always enjoy knitting 4-ply. That's the basic answer of it. I've knit a couple of 4-ply things, like 4 or 5 things I think over the past couple of years, and I just don't love doing it. But I want to be able to offer 4-ply options and patterns because people enjoy knitting them more than I do. So I have the yarn. I thought I'd show you the yarn. So I had actually 2 options, but let me show you the option that I'm going to definitely do. I put everything, what you can't see is that the rest of this room is chaos. There's a kind of cute little corner, and like the corner in front of me is lovely. I'm in my craft room, or it's not really a craft room, it's a yarn room. My studio. And I've organised a lot of things, but there's still some carnage. So I'm going to pull these skeins out. So I'm going to use Kinra 4-ply as my background colour. My plan here was, how do I make this as enjoyable as possible to knit if I do decide to knit it myself? And that was by using Kinra 4-ply. I'm considering this being a short sleeve version, or like, you know, like a kind of longer length, like an elbow length sleeve. Not quite that long, probably like, but I don't want a tiny fiddly little cap sleeve. I want like a bit of length on there. That is my current thought. And then, sorry, okay, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're looking for 12. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that took me longer to find than I expected. This is what I'm thinking of. This is my Pride and Prejudice advent from last year. And so the thing is, this is a full colour palette. There are 12 colours. There are 3 colours that I'm not sure about, which are the red, the pink, and the white. I'm just not crazy about these. I think that the background is going to be white, so I feel like, yeah, if that's the background colour, it's not even the same, it's not really the same white, it's different. So I think it'd be strange to put that in. So that's kind of already a given that that's coming out. It could be mixed in the middle somewhere. And then I'm just not sure, like the rest is this like very beautiful earthy greens and blues palette. So I want to keep this pale pink and this red. So my current thoughts are taking these 3 out and then doing a 9 colour fade with short sleeves for the 4-ply version. Current thoughts. That's all it's gotten to, thoughts. So yeah, I think that's everything. Sorry, I stopped filming. I looked for these. Sam called me to tell me that he's on his way home, and it's just, I've forgotten completely where I was at. But the test call for this is down below. The test form should stay open until Sunday evening, but if it's full, which I expect I will get, I'm expecting it to be a popular test call just because of the response when I've been sharing pictures of this on Instagram. But I could be wrong. Maybe it won't be popular. If it is popular and it hits anything like the Staffin numbers, if we're like over 800, I'll close the test form, because at that point people are just applying, and for Staffin I had like 250 people applying for one size, and with a cardigan and a vest that's 6 spots, but like 6 of 250 plus, so it won't stay open if it's already full, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're a sweater knitter and you're new to colourwork sweaters, this would be a good option for that. I think 1x1 colourwork is really good for tension. I'm not particularly good with tension in colourwork. It's great once it's been blocked, but before it's blocked it's definitely pretty scruffy for me. And 1x1 colourwork, I don't have that issue. And other than that, short rows is the only thing to work, and increasing on short rows. So make one right, make one left, make one right purl, make one left purl. I guess there's picking up for stitches under the underarms, but like that's again very minimal, like not a whole lot of picking up of stitches. Otherwise, the pretty straightforward pattern is charted. I was working on the chart when we were away, and I used like very bright, quite like very like primary colours in the chart. And I finished the sweater, and I went downstairs yesterday or Wednesday, and I showed Sam, and I was like, I finished my sweater, and he was like, I'm not gonna lie, when you were working that chart, I really was not convinced it would turn out nice. But seeing it finish is really pretty, and I was like, thank you for that backhanded compliment. Someone told me it looks like stained glass windows, and then someone told me it looks like books on a bookshelf, and I think those are 2 of like the best compliments about a sweater. I'm happy for it to look like either of those things. So yeah, that's Kindra. I'm really excited. I'm feeling just really good about a lot of things coming up. I feel really good about Cara, that's the wrap with coming next. I'll talk about that in a minute actually. Feeling so good about 6 season jacket. I'm looking forward to get back to my samples of that. Then we've got Staffin, then we've got Kintra, and then we've got a cable knit cardigan, sweater, mega pattern, and then we've got a Kathy cardigan. So I'm very clear on what's coming. I've got a lot of maths I'm working out to do, and then we're back into summer patterns. That's terrifying. It is, what is it? Is it still October? Yes, it's October, and I know what's happening until summer at this point. And even then I already have plans for summer, so a little bit wacky. Okay, I've got one whip to show, but it's a bit sad because it's not a very good whip to show, for one, and for 2, it's not going to look all that different. Oh, and actually I'm in the middle of a row, so I'm just making it worse. But this is basically the only thing I've worked on other than my vest and this, and that is because we're taking pictures on November 3rd, which is November 2nd actually, I think it's November 2nd. And this is how much I have of a cardigan. So I'm getting there. I just hadn't, it's annoying because it's the sort of thing that if you just sit down and work on it a little bit every day, it grows pretty rapidly. But I just kind of ignored it for 3-4 weeks. And now I'm kind of like, okay, I actually have to get going on this. And now I have to be like, okay, I have to do 5 centimetres a day, which is fine, but I want to work on other things. I don't want to work on stuck in it right now. I'm very, very inspired by texture. I want to be working on texture. But I really want this wrap to wear, for one. Especially, I think it's going to be so good over the festive period. I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it. I would like this version for the photos because it's going to be a little bit different from I already have a sample. I'll put a picture of it here. I have a sample already, and this is going to be there are 2 length options. This is a slightly longer length option, and I've put waist shaping in this one, which I didn't put in the first one. The pattern has options for waist shaping, 2 types of bust shaping, 2 different length options, 2 different sleeve options. And it's not actually a huge pattern. You'd think with all those things it would end up being like a 50-page pattern, but I think it's pretty reasonable. So as you can see, this is a front, but currently I'm in the middle of a row here. So we're not doing very well, but it is a wrap cardigan with like an I-cord edging. It's DK weight, it's seamless, so like you do some really fun shoulder pickups where like you basically just cannot see, you can kind of see, I guess, there, because it's not been blocked out, but once it's been blocked out you won't be able to see where the shoulder pickup was. You don't have to go back and add, you add the ties, but like you don't have to go back and add any like neckband or stuff, which I really love. And I think I'm going to do like a kind of balloon sleeve, like not a dramatic balloon sleeve, but I'm going to stop the increases a little bit early and then do like a bit of a rapid decrease, maybe like 8 stitches or something at the bottom, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, that's how I'm going with this. I am using a favourite combination of mine. So my first version is knit up in tin pure Gynt and Santa's Garn mohair, and I will say I find the tin pure Gynt a little scratchy. I find the pure Gynt a little scratchy. This isn't too bad. Like, I'm wearing a t-shirt underneath it and I can't, like, it's not uncomfortable, especially if it's cold outside, but for the wrap that's next to skin I wanted a softer version. So I'm using Drops Alpaca. I love Drops Alpaca. I think it's a really, really lovely yarn, and I've got a few sweaters now that I've knit 3+ years ago that I wear very often that never need depelled, and it's Drops Alpaca. So it's like as a combination that I love. I have 3 or 4 sweaters. I have 2 off the top of my head, and they're 2 of my most worn sweaters, and they never need depilling. And someone told me it's because the staple length of alpaca is shorter than the staple length of wool, so they can't friction as much. There are some amazing knitters who are very into the fibre content and like the science behind it. I am interested in the fibre content and how it will serve me, and I know that this alpaca will do very well. I'm holding it with a strand of silk mohair. I'm using Filcolana Tilia, which I like. I had no issue with it. I think it's like really good mid-range, nothing wrong with it, pretty good yarn. It's creating a very, very soft, like this beautiful, it's going to be lovely, like this lovely soft grey fabric in a wrap. It's just going to be some like nice jewellery, my black jeans probably, nice pair of shoes, some maybe like a spark, maybe a bow in my hair. I love bow. Yes, that is it. I need to go find a bow. I bought a bow last year and I think it got so squished and removed that I don't think it's in good condition anymore. Like a sparkly bow. Maybe a maybe a red sparkly bow. A tartan bow. I had them when I was a kid. When I was little I used to wear tartan bows in my hair. Okay, I'm excited already for Christmas. I already own a red version of this, which really should be the festive one that I'm excited for, but anyway. Yeah, so that's where we're going with that. I don't just like stockinette flap, and I'm not crazy about it. And the downside of the wrap, top down, is that every row is getting longer. And longer and longer and longer. It's not that bad, but at this point I'm now, there are different, I've talked about this in the past, but there are different increase rates on this pattern, and I am at the point now where I am increasing right side, wrong side, both rows. So every row is increasing by 2. I have a lot of rows to knit, so the rows are getting pretty long, and I just kind of want the body to be done. I'm happy to knit the sleeves, but I'm kind of just over the body. I'm just like, yeah, I'm over it. What next? So I am reading whilst doing this, and that is making a difference. I'm ahead of schedule. I when I get stressed, I like to plan out my knitting in terms of how much I'm doing per day or per week, and that makes me feel less stressed about deadlines. And so my goal is to do 5 centimetres a day, and I'm ahead of schedule. And I would like to finish the body today, other than the ribbing at the bottom. I don't think I'm going to hit that goal because I have things to do today. Like this evening, we're just going to chill. I've got no plans tonight, but I have to make dinner. And also I just can't knit that much, but we'll see how far I get. My goal, it would be nice to get that close. So yeah, that is how it's going. It's in my Strikkefeber Mille bag. I don't know how to pronounce that, and I'm probably doing a terrible job. I love this bag. I have 2 of these bags. They're not very well stocked at the minute, and they're all, I believe everyone's unique, or like they have a lot of different ones, and they don't have very many right now. So my plan is to order another one of these when they restock, but I just keep checking every once in a while, and they're not restocked yet. Cool. So I have other whips, but I've not worked on them since I last spoke to you, so there's no point in me showing them. That just means next time I'll have lots more to show because I'll have worked on all those whips. And I think I shouldn't cast anything on before I next see you, but we know what I'm like, so we'll see. Okay, I have 2 things left then. I have a yarn haul, just a little one from our festival, but I have something to show first. And it's not quite live yet, but it will go live before my next podcast, so I thought it'd be worth sharing. So, I mentioned a little while ago about some merchandise, and I showed some hats. So the hats are gone. I'm not going to get into that story today. It's not worth the story. The hats are gone. But I had 2 t-shirts. So, I have some t-shirts that are going live this week, and I thought I'd quickly show you them and talk about them, and then I'll leave them, and I'll talk about them more next time when they actually are live. But I love wearing book tees. And band tees, and I wear them a lot every single day, and I like to wear them with my jeans, or I like to wear them with like joggers just around the house and still feel like I'm wearing something a bit more exciting than a plain t-shirt. I went looking for knitting ones and I couldn't really find that many, and then I thought, okay, well how about I look to design some, and I ended up working with Sarah, who is Denim and Rain. She makes she's an incredible illustrator, also a knitter. She's done a few test knits for me before actually. She definitely tested the Lauder. And I feel like she tested something else, or she knit something else of mine. I can't think what it is. Nope. And she makes incredible like hand painted buttons and notions pouches and things like that. But I reached out to her about, I knew she'd done a few people's logos, and so I messaged her about my idea, and we worked together over the course of probably like 3 months on these designs. We started with 8 designs. I gave her a lot of concepts, and then we brought it down to 4, and then we brought it down to 2, and then we got 2 final designs. They're on t-shirts, so let me show you them first and then like talk about the rest. So the first one, I will say this one I wore to a festival last week on Sunday, and I've ironed it since for some pictures, but it has to be worn, so just be aware it's a worn t-shirt. So this is the first one. This is Yarn Club, and this guy, we kept calling this design Yarn Buddy. This guy is Yarn Buddy. It's got like a really fun like vintage vibe. I see a lot of t-shirts like this right now, and this is, I wanted like a vintage vibe tee, and a lot of them have got this like little dude on the front, or like a little, I see a lot of like coffee cups or like food items, and I like the idea of it being a little yarn person. So it says Yarn Club established 2024, meet me at the yarn store, sorry, meet me at the local yarn store. And that's on the front of the t-shirt, and the back is plain. I will say this is my version, so I put my logo on the back, but it will not have the logo on the back for anyone else. I just thought if I'm ordering this, I may as well put my logo on it. And then the other one, the front is plain and it's just on the back, and it says support your local yarn store, meet me at the yarn shop. It has a cone of yarn, it has some balls of yarn, it has, I really like these, it has these like fun little charts at the side. Yeah, there we go. So let me make sure, okay, so I'm just going to talk you through the process. When I decided to do this, there were basically 2 options. Either I could do a pre-order, order all to my house, package it all up and ship it out from here. Pros, I would get my hands on every single t-shirt so I could make sure that they're all of the correct quality, and the margins would be better for me because I would get a bigger discount for wholesale. So I would probably, I mean, I would make more money from doing it. Cons, a lot of work for me to package it all up and ship it, and I don't have any experience of that. Like it's not something I've done a lot of before. So like that would be a learning curve. and the timeline, so it would take probably a couple of weeks to get to me, a week at least for me to package it all up, and at least a few weeks to go back out again, whereas these will be, so that was, yeah, okay, so 5 weeks, probably 3 to 5 weeks time wise. And then the big killer was shipping costs. For me to send one of these t-shirts to the US would be like a minimum of like 12 to 20 pounds, depending on where it was going. So that's what, like $15 to $23 shipping per t-shirt, which is half the price of the t-shirt. The alternative then was me to use a print on demand supplier. And the supplier that I found actually is not just one supplier, but what they do is they work with different printers in different locations, and so they print it at the location closest to the order and then they send it out from there. So at this point, that was the option. So the pros of that option, well, the cons are I wouldn't get my hands on every single one, and the margins are not as good. So like, instead of me getting wholesale prices, it's not wholesale prices. The pros to that are they are the people that ship and distribute. They've got a whole factory for it, so they probably get it right. I wouldn't be sending, like, these t-shirts are, I'll talk about them, but they're made in the US, and so it wouldn't be a case of the US is my biggest market in terms of who watches the podcast, who follows me on Instagram. It's mostly the US, so it wouldn't mean sending it to me to send it back to the US. And shipping is superbly reasonable. So I did a bunch of tests. I think I sent out close to 10, I think I sent out 10 t-shirts, maybe 12 t-shirts, to a combination of family, friends and internet friends. There's only one person I sent it to, actually, yeah, there's only one person I sent it to who I've never met before, and that is Inga in Norway, Knitting Traditions. Everyone else I've met, but I wanted to send one to Norway, and I was like, who do I know in Norway that would accept a t-shirt? So Norway was the most expensive place to ship to, and it was £7. Everywhere else, I checked, like north, south, I checked North US, no, I checked Canada. North America, there we go. I checked Canada, I checked the US, I checked Australia, New Zealand, and I checked like 4 or 5 places in Europe for pricing, and nobody was more than like, yeah, £7, which is what, like $10 was the most expensive, and most of them are around about the £5 mark, $7 shipping. The platform also handles things like sales tax, so if you live in a country with sales tax or VAT, the platform does that for you. So that's the reason we went for that option. It also means it would get to you faster, and at this point I think I've ordered close to 20 t-shirts for myself and for my tests. There have been no issues. They've all turned up on time, they've all turned up in the right condition, so I'm feeling pretty confident about this option. The t-shirts are unisex. They are Comfort Colors, which is the brand. They're made in the US, they're 100% cotton. Everything about them will be on the website, but this is the brand that I've been wearing the most for both my band t-shirts and my bookish t-shirts, and it was important to me that I had a product that I like trusted and really liked and wore a lot, so that's why we're sticking with this brand. I've had a few comments already about like people like fitted t-shirts or like v-necks. I don't wear those, so I don't have anything to refer them to. What I'll look to do is see from the supplier that I'm using what other products they have, and then maybe try ordering some plain ones and wearing them myself and seeing how they go over the next couple of months, and like washing and wearing and like knowing that they stay well printed. I actually reached out to the person who does the book t-shirts that I like to wear and asked them where they get them printed, and that's the provider I'm using. So like I've got a lot of faith in this one, because I've ordered from them and been wearing them for like 6+ months with no issues. So yeah, they'll take about a week if I'm ordering. The price is £25 plus whatever, if you have sales tax, and then whatever your conversion is. So in the UK it ends up being, I think, £27.50 or something, which is £25 plus VAT. In the US it's like just over $30, I think, and I didn't know this, but I didn't know states had different sales tax. So I was sending them to different states in the US, and someone had like 10 cents sales tax, and some had like $4 sales tax. So it's easier for me to just set a base price, and then wherever you are, again, the platform will handle that for me, which is quite nice. And they're going to go live on Wednesday, which is the 30th of November, and they will stay online for a month. So they'll stay online till almost the end of November. 30 days has September, April, May and November. Does November have 30 days? I don't want to have these listed, like whilst they're ongoing, I'm anticipating some questions, some things to deal with. I don't know how popular it'll be, like maybe there'll be issues that I have to resolve, I'm not entirely sure. It's the first time I'm doing it. I've also got, as we've all heard, a lot of patterns coming out. So I don't want this to be a thing that's like taking too much of my time to constantly manage. At the same time, I don't want there to be a scarcity feeling, or like an exclusivity, scarcity. Like people, I don't know, I'm hoping that a month means that there's paydays and anything else in there you have to deal with, and no one's like, they're only online for a day or a week, I have to order it right now. So I'm trying to get the balance. I'll see if it works. First time we're doing it, so we'll see if that works well. I also thought it'd be a nice time that if people had them, I want to send to a partner and be like, or like a friend or a parent or whoever, and be like, you're looking for a Christmas present for me, you can get me one of these. It's online until the end of November. Like, it gives a bit of time for that as well. But I don't want to have it something that's online 24/7, that I always have to be like another thing to constantly think about. I'm thinking, I'm worrying about this for the next 30 days. So yeah, I'll talk about them more. I'll probably wear one next time. It feels weird talking about them because they're not live yet, but they will go live on Wednesday. And I'll try and come back on Wednesday and update down below with my website link, which will have them live on it. And we'll see how it goes. I'm feeling a bit anxious. It's not been without its drama, let's just say that. But I'm glad that, like, I think I'm pretty happy with the end result. I've already got ideas about future designs, so if this goes well, I'd like to do maybe every 6 months, or like 3 times a year, do a little drop of like 1 or 2 designs, because I love wearing things covered in knitting. And some people, I understand, like, why wear knitting merch when you can just wear knitting? But I like it, I don't know. I like that. Yeah, I think that's a pricing. They go from a small to a 4XL. They're comfort colours. They'll take about a week to ship to you. They're £25 plus shipping and any sales tax you have to add to that. I've checked most countries that I have a market in. So like anywhere that's got more than 10% of my viewership, I've checked that they get shipped there. If they don't ship to you, drop me a message and we can work something out. Like, I can always send it to myself and forward something on or something like that. I think that's everything about these t-shirts. Goodness. I feel a bit nervous that it's so close now. They've been in the process for a long time, so I'm a bit, not anxious, but just a bit like, I kind of want it going and get the first few orders in and then just get them all arrive and then not have to worry about, just know that the rest of it's going to be okay. Okay, one last thing. For someone who doesn't have very much knitting, I have done a particularly good job of yapping for a long time today. I didn't think that would happen. So, I went to the Glasgow School of Yarn last weekend. It was Rhinebeck weekend, so I had a little bit of FOMO. I didn't have that much FOMO, if I'm being honest, but all the Instagram stories from Marlene of Marlene Knits, who also has a podcast, all of her stories were so like aesthetic, of like cute coffee shops and like, oh, it just looked so good. That made me nostalgic, for like, made me happy from FOMO. Just her stories. So Marlene, in the off chance you're watching, you made me jealous. But everyone else, I'm glad I didn't go this year. We had a lot going on this year. I might go next year. I'll put it into consideration. But yeah, I like how you can see this wasn't in frame before I changed the battery. This is the corner of a bag of yarn. But I did go to Glasgow School of Yarn. It's the first time I've been. It is a a medium-sized festival in Glasgow, very, very central in Glasgow, which was nice, very, very easy to get to, and a great range of dyers and fun little things. We got the train through. I missed my first train because I thought that the arrival time was the departure time. So I was very, very early for my train, but the train I thought I was getting, but I was in fact late for the train that I'd planned to get. And it was really nice. I spoke to lots of nice people. I had some really, really great conversations. I saw people that I feel like I haven't seen in a while, so it's like a bit of a catch up. People I saw maybe like really good back in April, and that was really nice. And I think I was saying to Sam when I got home, something that I really liked is people came up to me and said, oh, I love your designs, or like, I'm knitting this, I'm knitting that. And when I first went to a few festivals, I'd get like, oh, I love watching your podcast. And it's kind of nice that like, I'm not saying like I'm known for my designs more than my podcast, but it was nice that like I went there as a designer as well as a podcaster. But a lot of people were saying, oh, I love your designs. I like that a lot. It was really nice. And I had a great time and I bought some yarn. So I thought I'd show you what I got. So the first thing was the Kintra reply, which I already showed, so I will not show that again. I went with the intention of getting some mini skeins because I was working on this and I was thinking about future options. The first thing is neither a mini skein nor something for this, but I was so transfixed by it that I decided I needed it. And I'm looking at it right now and thinking like, did I take something that morning? It was very cool. I bought some chunky boucle. Sorry, some jumbo boucle. 80% Highland wool, 20% alpaca, 80 meters per 100 grams. Looks like the Cookie Monster. It's amazing. So I bought 2 skeins of this. My thought, they're from the same dye lot. My thought was, if there's something, like, if I get the itch to cast on something new, I could just make like a little, like a Sophie scarf style, something cozy, maybe a little hood. Maybe I should make a boucle hood. How fun would that be? Or like a dicky or something. I don't have very much to play with. 160 meters is not very much yarn. But I touched the fabric. It felt very, very warm and cozy. I never have enough accessories. This would be a fun one to knit up, and there were 2 colours, 2 of this colour left, and I needed it. So it's from Mammy and Flory, who I have followed for ages. And interestingly, I think that, I didn't know at the time, I think there's a what 3 words on the back. So if you, what 3 words is like a location identifier. So I think it's like a 2 meter square has 3 words associated with it. So it's like saying, if you're saying like, oh, I'm on like the high street, but like where on the high street, instead of saying like, oh, I'm here, you just say what 3 words, and it brings you to this very small square. And there are 3 words on the back of this, which is salt, shredding, iterative. And I've not looked it up yet, but I guess that might be the location of the yarn, which is quite cool. So that was my first purchase. Put it up there. My second purchase was almost equally out of character. I have it all in this bucket right now because I'm trying to organise things in here. But they are mini skeins. So I decided that if I was going to make the 4-ply sample, I had to make it as enjoyable a process as possible. And so I bought fluff. I bought lots of fluff. I bought a few extras. I've got a couple of these I've got 2 skeins of because I wasn't 100% sure how much yarn I would need. I've done the calculations now and I don't think I'll need it, but are those other colours? I feel like I'm missing one. Yeah. Look at this. It's like a jewelled bouquet of fluff. So they are, it's Kid Silk Lace. Oh goodness, it's right on my nose. 72% kid mohair, 28% silk, 168 yards, 20 gram skein. Oh, they all have names. Splendid. I have no idea. Splendid. Speeded. I've got no idea. That's this orange one. These are all from Rainbow Heirloom, who I have not shopped at before, but both Maggie and Rebecca that I were with have shopped there before and had great things to say about them. This is Unrequited. Like that. That's a good name for yarn. Come on. Come on. Nope. Nope. Okay. This is like the second word is plant, and then it looks like it says the plant. VE plants. Vi plants? I don't know. The person who wrote these has like doctor's writing. Golden Norths. Nope. Golden Norla. Norta. Golden Norta. Very much golden. Beginner's Luck. That's also a good name. I like that one. Purple. Nope. Owl King. Oh, that's also a good name. And Small Comforts. So yeah, the plan is to make a Kintra with these. That'd be really fun. Oh, I missed. No, wait, did I get that one? Is that the one I couldn't read? Yeah, I got that one already. Cool. I had a really nice day. It was lovely. It was really, really nice. And I really liked it. It was a while since the yarn festival. It was really nice to see everyone. It was a nice size. It wasn't too far to get to. I just came back with a very like full cup. I had a really nice day. So I will try and get there. Well, it's always the weekend of Rhinebeck, I think. So I'm not sure if I'll get there next year. If I decide to go to Rhinebeck, we will see. But if I'm free in the future, I would definitely go to that festival and I would recommend it. It was really nice. I think that's everything for me. I thought it'd be a short episode, and I'm pretty sure it's not a short episode. So if you stuck with me for this long, then thank you. It also felt like a lot of self-promotion. 2 test calls and upcoming merchandise. Merch feels weird because it's not got anything to do with me, but it's merch, I guess, the category of it. So yeah, a lot going on. So apologies for the self-promotion as well, but I think if you've been watching for a while, that's kind of like, there's a lot of me designs here, so it's kind of all that's going on. But yeah, I'm really excited for the test at the start. I'm really excited to see. I'm not casting on my next sample until December 1st when I do my advent, so it's going to be like a whole month of not knitting on this pattern, and I really want to see more samples. So I'm excited. There'll be a little box in the test form about what your sort of plans are, and you won't be tied to them. But like I'd like to try and have a variety, so like some with 3 colours, some with 24 colours, something in between. And I'm already just looking forward to reading through the test form to see what people are planning to do. And yeah, I think that's all. I went on my holiday last week. It was lovely. It was so nice. There is a video, just the video before this is just a little vlog from that trip if you want to see it. And what else? Our little boat got taken out of the water today, so we're starting to plan what our boat work is going to look like over the next couple of months. And we've got some house jobs to start doing, and we're almost there. You can't quite see, but I have some shelving up now with all my sweaters on it and my giant forehead. So I'm there, and then this corner is looking kind of cute. I have like my swatch boards and I have some art. I hit 50k people on Instagram, so I took a picture, and there's a giveaway happening on Instagram if you've not seen it yet. This picture was, it's gonna be very loud. This is I'll do a full tour when it's done, but I have two paintings on my wall, and one of them is a needlepoint done by my maternal grandmother, and one is a watercolour done by my paternal grandmother. And I put them up again last night, and I love it because it kind of reminds me that there's like creativity in my blood. Which is very cute. Anyway, I've done enough talking, I think, and a lot of rambling, so I'm going to check off there. Thank you for watching and sticking along. Test calls down below. Nyx Sweater pattern down below. And on Wednesday, the T-shirts will be there as well. I'll be back in 2 weeks with a podcast episode. I'll be back next week with something else. Undecided. And until then, have a great time. Happy knitting. Bye.